All right, moving on to the first slide. Yeah, we have the guidelines for the session. This is for everybody. Everybody will be on mute by default to avoid any background noise. If you want to be express your views or ask any queries, you can put them in the chat window, and the instructor will answer them. If needed, you will be unmuted to express yourselves. That's it. Coming on to the next slide. This is about the course. Edureka provides live online classes that will be of 3 hours session. Hands-on exercises on AWS will be provided. This includes the free tier that AWS provides, and you won't be charged for it. You can practice on that, and the practicals can be implemented on that. 24/7 technical support is provided by Edureka. You can post your queries anytime, and you'll get the reply as soon as possible. We have downloadable class recordings, slides, sample code, and assignments as well. You can become a certified cloud computing expert, but you need to give a practical exam for that. Once you clear that test, you'll be provided a proper skill certificate for cloud computing. For signing up and to enroll in the course, you can sign up at www.edureka.in cloud computing. That's given. The link is given there. You can email us at cloudsales@edureka.in, and the phone number is given as well. You can contact us and sign up for the course. Now, about the instructor, that's Mr. Tarun Dave. He has more than 12 years of IT industry experience, including 3+ years of AWS experience as an architect, as AWS solution provider, as AWS trainer. He has conducted more than 25 classroom workshops on AWS, and as well as 50 AWS overview sessions on webinar. He is an active blogger and content writer for one of the cloud SaaS provider. Now I would like to pass on to the instructor. You can be the presenter now and move on with the session.
Hey, thanks, Akansha. I hope everybody you are able to hear me. I'm Tarun Dave, and today I'm going to take you to the virtual journey of cloud computing. So we'll try to cover what is cloud computing, the buzz around the cloud computing, what are the delivery models of the cloud computing, and after that we'll try to take brief about what is Amazon Web Services, which is one of the leading cloud provider in the world right now. And we'll also try to see a demo about Amazon Web Services. So how can you use the Amazon Web Services? At the end of the session, I'll also tell you what are we going to cover in the 6 modules which we are planning to take, and what you can expect from the course. So I'll start my journey. Before that, if you have any questions, you can keep on putting in the chat window, and at a logical break or in between, I'll keep on taking the questions, and then I'll keep on answering also. I hope you will enjoy the journey. So let's start our virtual journey to the cloud computing. So before I start, just that the people are there, everybody would say that what is cloud computing, and I should use the cloud computing. Now, even in the buzzwords, if anybody says I have a huge number of files, what should I do that? And people always say, why don't you store in the cloud? What is a cloud here? It's a rocket science. It's something different. What is the cloud actually? And because it's a buzzword these days, if you go anywhere, like the Irish Times, the former CEO of the Sun Microsystems, everybody is saying the similar thing, that we are moving from the ice age to iron age to industrial age, information age, and now this is a participating civilization age, where you will be participating over the internet, not just for viewing the stuff, but what more collaborations, more infrastructure available to you. You can do many more things which you were not able to do previously, and that has enabled, or that was enabled only because of the cloud computing. So cloud computing is definitely a buzzword, even if you might have heard that. Obama won the election because of cloud computing. Again, not only because of the cloud computing, but that was a key factor because it used the Amazon Web Services quite effectively to channelize the voters who believe in Obama. So he tried to run some of the applications in the Amazon Web Services, and using the Amazon power, he channelized all the voters who are not coming out to vote for him, though they were favoring him. And that has resulted in a massive victory for Obama. So that is the power of the cloud computing. And if you go for Gartner also, the cloud computing is in a hype cycle. If you see the different expectations, different applications, everything in the cloud computing, the hype cycle of the cloud. Though Gartner as well as everybody believes cloud is not exactly mature yet. It will take a few years. Something would take sometimes for 2 years, something would take for 2 to 5 years, some of things. But for the times of 4 to 5 years, you will see a very, very mature cloud. And that time you will see the real benefit or real power of the cloud computing also. And that is the reason, if you see that one of the recent Forrester reports says that cloud computing market will rise from 40 billions this year to more than 240 billion. Yes, 241 billions. And that is, I would say, almost as much revenue of Apple, and much more than the, you can say, any of the Indian industries. So with a year-to-year growth of over 20%. So estimates tremendous growth in SaaS. SaaS is one of the cloud computing model, which we will cover in this session today. But that is what they are expecting over. And how do they say the market growth? So in the year 2011, the public cloud covers right now almost 25 billions, while the virtual private cloud, again, public cloud, virtual private cloud, or private cloud, I'll covering in my session in little different detail. So, but just going on a scenario where private would be more within your organization, where public something on internet, and you see the current little less amount on the public cloud, or less movement on the public cloud would be measure of the security worry. But in the 2020, I see a lot of maturity in the cloud, more secure environment in the cloud, and that is why you see from 25 billion to jumping to 116 billions, almost 6 times. While from the private cloud, it would be just doubling up. And the reason would be people want to save the money, people want to be cost effective, and at the same time, they want to get the or garner the power of the cloud computing. So what is the real cloud computing means? We have hearing a lot of a buzzword across the world that the cloud computing is this and this. So if you go and ask, it's the same story as an elephant and the few blind men. I'm sure you might have heard that story. So whenever you go, and then if blind man touches the trunk or it touches the tail, it will have a different kind of assumption for cloud computing. And that's a similar concept. If you ask somebody using Dropbox, they'll say the cloud computing is a storage. If you ask somebody using Gmail, they say cloud computing is an email. If you ask using somebody in Amazon, they say cloud computing is a infrastructure. So it's all different concept for everyone. But that's not the thing. There is a whole huge elephant which is sitting over there, and the elephant is not sitting idle, it is rocking. So we need to know what is exactly this elephant means. So according to Forrester, the cloud computing is a form of standardized IT-based capability such as internet-based services, software, or IT infrastructure offered by a service provider that is accessible via internet protocols from any computer and is always available and scales automatically to adjust to demand, is either pay per use or advertising based. So if I make in a little more simpler way, or which you can understand in a much better way, something which is a business service which is offered to you on a pay-as-you-go model, which would be available to you as you want. It's a scalable and it's a metered kind of a service. Now, what does it exactly mean? So does it mean all the web application across the world are cloud, or any web app or any application I'm using is a cloud? No, that is not the case. So National Institute of Standard and Technology has decided certain attributes for the cloud computing. And yes. So National Institute of Standard and Technology has defined certain attributes for the cloud computing. And if you follow these attributes, it would make the real cloud computing scenario. So these are the 5 key attributes of cloud computing. And to make anything or enable your cloud computing, this is very important. The first one is a broad network access. So which means that it's available everywhere across the world. So you can access from the internet. It's ubiquitous network presence. So you can access from anywhere in the world. And that is one of the key factors. Now, there would be a case where it's something special, like only for your organization, where you can access from the intranet across the organization. So broad network access is pretty important for that. It should not be a desktop-based application and only you can use that. So that is very important aspect. Second and very important aspect is a rapid elasticity, and that is what separates cloud computing. Cloud should be scalable, or it should be elastic. Whenever you need it, it should be able to scale up as per your requirement. And that's the key power of cloud computing, or the key power why people are moving to the cloud computing. It should be a measured service. And what do you mean by measured service? Because cloud computing should be a pay-as-you-go model. So whatever amount you are using, it will be charging you only for that amount. It can be hourly basis, or number of users basis, or the storage basis. Based on different metrics or parameters, it would be charging you back. But yeah, it should be measuring your service, so it can charge you back. So that is another aspect of the cloud computing. It should be a measured service and charge you on a pay-as-you-go model. It should be on demand. So I take an example. Normally, when we want to procure an infrastructure like a server or a hardware something, how much time do we normally take? If you just go, then in the market, you will be right now searching on the internet or going to the different shops, the Chroma and the different shops, Reliance Digital and everywhere. You try to find what is the best suitable infrastructure available or meeting your requirements. Then, or if you're an organization, you would ask the people to provide you the quotations. Then you will try to compare the quotes, and then you'll place the order. Then you will get it. It may take 4 days, 8 days, or something more. Cloud computing is available on demand. So whenever you need it, it is immediately available to you. And that would be something within 2 minutes, 5 minutes kind of a scenario. So if you go to Amazon, which even I will cover in my demo, and you request for a server, it will be available to you in 5 minutes. So you don't need to go to any shop or purchase something. It's available to you. And another advantage of cloud computing is a resource pooling. The resource pooling is a little complex but very important aspect of the cloud computing. The resource pooling means it should be able to pool for multiple resources. Now, what do you mean by resources? It's same as a concept called a tenant. It should be a multi-tenant scenario. Now, what is a tenant and what is a user? So a tenant can be a multiple companies. So I take the example of the leading 3 companies or the leading 3 banks of the India. That it could be SBI, HDFC, and ICICI. Now they want to procure a cloud. Again, going for a banking cloud and everything is a different scenario. But just taking an example, they want to procure a cloud. So they would go to the Amazon and say, I am taking your service. In that scenario, the ICICI or the HDFC or SBI would be working as a tenant, and all the users or all the employees of SBI or ICICI who are going to use the Amazon, they would be becoming the end users. So tenant is like the pool of the group users, which would make the more cost effective or resource optimization part. And the cloud should be doing a multi-tenancy. So whenever it's offering something, it should be able to offer to a multiple tenants. It's not about only the users. You can go to any website and register over there. But tenants means if I go and I want, like an SBI goes and says, I want an application which would have a my logo, which would have my content, which would have showing something the welcome screen as a differently. While as a ICICI would like, okay, I need the login page as a differently because my users don't want to feel that I am taking from your service. So this is the kind of a scenario where as per the tenant, you would be able to configure your requirement and provide the offering. So that's why it's called a resource pooling. So cloud should be able to do the resource pooling. And these are the very important 5 key attributes of the cloud computing. So not everything makes a cloud computing. It has to follow these 5 attributes. Again, for some of the clouds, it may mostly it would say, I would say 4 are the very important. 1, it could be here or there, but these are the very important aspects and which would enable you to make a real cloud computing. Now going for this aspect, now cloud also have a delivery models or service models. Also, there are 3 major delivery models defined by the NIST. One is a software as a service model, another is a platform as a service model, third is an infrastructure as a service model. Now what do you mean by here, the software or platform or something? If you remember, I talk about that cloud is something, a business service is offered to you on a pay-as-you-go model. Now in that aspect, anything which is coming here, so software as a service model, something, a software is offered to you as a pay-as-you-go model. Take an example of Gmail. Gmail is one of the largest email service provider. Now as an end user, when we are using Gmail, we know that we just go to Gmail and register and we start using Gmail. So that's an end user facing application. Then how do you say it's a resource pooling and it's doing all the cloud concepts? It's a broad network access, it's available everywhere. It's a rapid elasticity. You never know, there would be millions users today, there would be billions users tomorrow, and still Gmail is able to serve them. It's a measured service. Now measured service I'll coming to the next point, but on demand. So whenever you need, Gmail is available to you. Resource pooling. How does the Gmail do the resource pooling or multi-tenancy here? See, the Gmail VC is like an end user kind of a thing. That's a kind of, we are as an end tenants where it's individual users. But Gmail has its own offering where it serves for the users which are across the world. So like in different organization, I know a few organizations or few institutes. Take an example of the Education Institute of 3 IITs. They want to set up their email service. In the email service, where it would be like one IIT Mumbai would go and say, okay, Gmail, I want to use your email service, but it should have my logo it should have my login page kind of a thing, while the IIT Kanpur would go and say that it should have my kind of information, or IIT Delhi would have their login page. So Gmail provides that kind of a service. So at the front end, when the IIT Delhi or IIT Kanpur or IIT Mumbai people are using, it would be just feeling that okay, we are accessing the application of the IIT Mumbai only, but at the backend side, the complete email application or complete email infrastructure and service is provided by Gmail, which we will never come to know. And Gmail is doing a huge thing in that. So there are multiple users, multiple organization can buy the service from the Gmail, and the advantage would be you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to create your email service over there. Now, in that aspect, somebody just asked me, what is a single tenant? Again, I meant here single tenant would be, there is a, in Gmail, we are considered as a single tenant, like an individual user. It's like a group of people who are working as a independently for that. We are not as a part of some organization. But as a tenant, it would be something like a group of people. So it can be a one tenant, it can be a multi-tenant. But single tenant would be a one tenant who is has a multiple group of people and who is taking the service out of that. Again, rapid elasticity is, again, somebody is asking me about that. So rapid elasticity is the same thing where it should be able to grow as when you require. So I'll just cite another example. When the Osama was killed, I'll take the example of CNN website. Normally CNN might be, again, that's all the numbers are hypothetical. The CNN might be happening or see that every day we have 10,000 users visiting my site. So that's a random number coming from my brain also. So every day 10,000 people coming and visiting CNN site. Now Obama announced that America has killed Osama. Now suddenly everybody in America is curious. They wanted to know what happened, and the best source for them would be going to the CNN website. Now suddenly there is a huge load on the CNN website. Now suddenly out of 10,000 there would be 10 million people who are trying to access CNN website. Now how would you measure that? So CNN is able to serve the 10,000 people. They might have provisioned that okay, out of 10,000 I would be able to provision the 20 or 30,000 people, but going to 10 million users, how can you do that? And that's why if CNN gone with the cloud provides an option that automatically you can scale up the resources. So when you need, you can add multiple virtual servers in horizontal. So horizontal scaling, like you are adding more servers in parallel. So your whole load will be distributed. So one server which is catering to 10,000 servers, you can add something 100 more servers like that within no time. So your load would be completely distributed and it can serve your requirement. And that is what the elasticity would be. Again, elasticity and scalability would sometimes go hand in hand, and sometimes it would go a little less. What I explain is the classic example of scalability, but scalability does not work without elasticity. Elasticity would be more like where you are using the resources optimally, and then you use the scalability to scale up your resources. So that's how the rapid elasticity and scalability will work for you. Now going for another model from software as a service, where you get some software as a business service model. In platform as a service model, you will get some platform as a service model. Now what do you mean by the platform here? A platform would be something which is offered to you to develop your applications. So it would be like some APIs, some integration, some interfaces are available. So you don't need to start from the scratch. You are already having some infrastructure already provided to you, some APIs are already read. So you can just start using. Example would be you have a database already available for you. You can just start integrating with that. So you don't need to set up a database. Or you have a mobile APIs available. So you don't need to write a new APIs. You can directly start setting the SMS using the mobile APIs. So platform as a service model, which will provide a platform to build your application, which will be that's offered as a pay-as-you-go model. The classic example is a Google App Engine, where in Google App Engine it provides a platform where you can integrate the Google Gmail, the Google mobile services, the Google the chat service, Google Plus, everything you can integrate with using the APIs. Plus you can host your application also on the Google, and as well as you can use the database, which is a huge NoSQL database offered by the Google. You can use that also. So that's a concept of a platform as a service model, where a platform is offered to you. In infrastructure as a service model, infrastructure is offered to you as a service. Where infrastructure means it could be a virtual resources like virtual desktop, virtual server, virtual memory, virtual compute power, something available to you. You can use it, and it's a massively scalable. Again, whenever you need, it's available to you. So you can store your resources over there. You can just start using them for a multiple resources at a time. You can use it for desktop as a virtual server. You can host your application over there. The network is a high bandwidth network is also available to you, and the storage, again, a huge storage or unlimited storage is available to you. So these are the three major service models of the cloud computing. again, there is a term which is very often in the market. So I just thought to highlight on that. That's called anything as a service model. Sometimes not only out of three, which would be kind of a component of three, like a database as a service model, management as a service model, assurance as a service model. So those are also coming up in the market. So in the future, you may come up these kind of a terms. So I just thought I'll introduce you with the concept called anything as a service also. Now, how do you deploy all this in the cloud? So for that, cloud has a four kind of a deployment models. In that, one is a public cloud, where something is available over the internet, you can access from the internet. In the private cloud, it would be more like something which is particular to your organization only. I'll covering all this in little detail, so I'm just going a brief about it. In hybrid cloud would be more like a combination of public and private, or public and community kind of a scenario. While in the community cloud, it would be more like a like-minded companies coming together and making their own cloud. So a classic example I was just giving before is the case of SBI, ICICI, and HDFC. When those three banks come together and they make their own cloud, which is used by those three organizations only, that's like a community is coming together and making their own cloud. So it's not particular to a company, but it's particular to a group or like-minded people. So that's a community cloud. Before I move on, I guess I have got a few questions. I'll just try to see. Can we have a class recording for us? I'm sure it would be, and Edureka could definitely help you on that aspect. One example is what is the difference between hybrid and community? Definitely I'll come to and that slide and I'll show you more about that. What is the difference between the cloud and Azure? Azure itself is a cloud offering. Azure was initially a platform as a service model. Now it's more going towards the infrastructure as a service model, but Azure is a cloud offering. Yes, I can. Some other question is, why do you say private cloud is a single tenant? It is a single tenant because it is used by only one organization. So normally private cloud is for the one organization only. It's not shared across the multiple people, and within one organization it would be used by the multiple users. So that's why it is there. Oracle on cloud can be an example of PaaS. Yes, Amazon do provide again on that. Oracle on cloud is there, but Amazon also provides a RDS kind of scenario. I'll show again in my slides, where it's called the relational data service, where Oracle database is available. So database which is available, it's a managed service kind of something available to you. That is in a PaaS offering. So Oracle on a cloud is definitely, you can say, is a PaaS offering. AWS, again, a question is AWS IaaS or PaaS. AWS is definitely IaaS, but it has started a lot of PaaS offering in recent days. But its major focus was the infrastructure service. Now we are seeing a lot of offerings from the Amazon on a platform as a service model. Again, I guess I would take, this is the last question because we also need to keep on moving. So I'll take another logical break after some time. But last question is it feasible to go for a cloud computing after work experience? I'll try to cover that. That's a good question, definitely. It's always good to have some your programming knowledge or something about the cloud computing, because cloud is now something, not a new phenomenon. It was existing since long, but it's now given a better definition, better treatment, and now it's now becoming more and more mature. So if you have a knowledge about some kind of a programming language, some kind of a infrastructure services, that would definitely help you to go to the cloud computing. I'll take the more questions afterwards, so please pardon me for that part. I'll definitely try to answer most of the questions, so don't get disappointed. Now, coming to the cloud delivery models. So the cloud delivery models, I talk about that there are three major delivery models: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service model. So I already explained that in software as a service models, a software or business software is offered to you as a service model. In platform, a platform like a database or an API, something available to you. In infrastructure, it's like a virtualization of desktop, internet, virtual, those things are available. Now, who are the normally end user for this kind of scenario? The consumer would be the SaaS kind of a scenario, would be an end user, like you, me, for the going for Gmail. In a platform as a service model, it would be more like a application owners. So they would be making some kind of a application on top of the platform. So they will be creating their own SaaS. If I want to make my SaaS, I can definitely use PaaS. So I can create SaaS using PaaS because it will have a scalability and all those aspects, and it would be easier or fast to develop. While in the IaaS, it would be again same as the application owner who wants to host their application on IaaS, but again it would be for your storage service and all that also option. That consumer would be them. And then the coverage part would be that there would be different kind of a coverage also. It's how much it's application uptime. So they are covered through the SLA. So whenever you're going for some SaaS provider or PaaS provider, you can always go and meet them. They will say whether it's a per user basis, what are the SLAs, what would be my uptime, how much is my application coverage, what would be my environment performance, everything they would be providing the over there. A few examples would be the CRMs, emails on the SaaS part. So a public SaaS providers, the CRM, Salesforce.com, in the emails, Outlook, as well as Gmail. In a collaboration, what would you can see the GoToMeeting, WebEx, that is there. In the ERP also, that's again coming from the Salesforce, and there are Oracle also coming with its own ERP offering. I'm not sure exactly about the name, but I know they are also coming up to cloud offering on the ERP. On the PaaS side also, there would be a application development. So we have a Force.com, we have a Google App Engine. Those are the cases where they provide the PaaS offering. In infrastructure as a service model, the classic examples are Amazon Web Services. Terramark is one of them, which is now, not now, almost 6 months back, it is procured by the Verizon. Then there is a GoGrid, there is a Rackspace. In India, it's a Tata Communications. Those are the infrastructure as a service providers. Going to a cloud deployment models, and I'm sure after this I'll take a few questions after a couple of slides. So cloud deployments, public cloud, something which is available over the internet, which you can access from the internet across the world. So when you have internet access, you can access it, and that is why it's called a public cloud. It's a publicly available, and it's again a pay-as-you-go model. So multi-tenant application. So it would be, since it's available publicly, there will be multiple people or multiple tenants using it. And the major difference for the public cloud would be, go with the Amazon case or the Rackspace and all that. They have the unlimited resources, virtually unlimited. So you can go as much as you want. Even they say that with Amazon, you can make a super computer within 30 minutes. They provide that kind of a scenario also. So you can get the processing power of a supercomputer with some of the Amazon offering, and it would take some time, more time to build up because it's a cluster and all that kind of setup. But you can do that kind of a thing also. In a private cloud, it's a finite infrastructure and services. It's for your organization only. It's available to you only for your organization. It's normally enterprise owner based, and then the chargeback has to be configured. Now, as we told about that, cloud is a pay-as-you-go model. So how do you charge back to the line of business or the users? That is somebody has to figure out. Then you also have to plan out the management. How do you do administration? How do you manage all your private cloud option also? And the hybrid cloud is a composition of a public and private cloud. So sometimes public cloud is very scalable, massively scalable, I say that. But at the same time, you may not like public cloud because it's not so much secure. Sometimes you may worry because it's not available to you. Anybody can hack it. So the public cloud is not so secure. If something is which is your organization, you have complete control over it, and that's why it's a private cloud, so it's more secure. But you want the high scalability of the public cloud and you want the security of private cloud, you can go for a hybrid cloud where you would be tunneling public and private using some SSN channel or something, and then you would be hosting your application something on the public cloud, but data which is more secure requirement would be hosted on your private cloud, and then data communication or the collaboration would be through that secure tunnel. So that makes a hybrid cloud. Coming to a scenario, somebody also asked me that what is the difference between hybrid cloud and community cloud? Community cloud is more like a private cloud, but it's where multiple private organizations come together and make their own cloud. So it doesn't become a public, but I said example of the SBI or SCS or HDFC, they don't want to go with the public cloud. Reason is security. So they can form a joint venture where they will be creating their own data center, which would be used by those 3 banks only. So that is called a community cloud, where it's for like-minded or the company with the same goal or orientation come together and make their own cloud. So that's what they call a community cloud. And a community cloud with the public cloud can also be a hybrid cloud. So you can always public and private can also make a hybrid cloud. So those are the different scenarios for that. And this is the example over there. So in a hybrid cloud, if you see here, we have a public or something cloud also available, as well as your on-premise or internal cloud also. And they both would be connected through a secure tunnel. So there would be some secure channel established between two, and then data would be flown between that using some encryption and all that mechanism. The GoGrid does provide the hybrid cloud. So is the Amazon VPC. Amazon VPC, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, which is also offering the hybrid cloud offering. So before I go to the key characteristics of the cloud, I'll just try to cover a few more questions. How do we create superpower computers using Amazon Web Services? I mean, Is that thing also covered in the course? No, that would be definitely a little advanced course because it's just a supercomputer you are making, right? So this our course covers more about the basic about cloud computing, basic about the Amazon Web Services, how do you use the Amazon Web Services. But once you get very good hands on the Amazon Web Services, I'm sure you can make that a supercomputer kind of thing very easily. It does not stop you because it's ultimately using the Amazon Web Services, but the server size, which would be normally you are using a 64 GB RAM. Instead, you might be using 256 GB RAM, and then you would be cluster computing the units so that you can always use it. What is the cloud computing and why we need it? I think I already covered what is the cloud computing in my definition. So something which is offered you as a business service and a pay-as-you-go model. And why we need it, I'll try to cover what are the ideal case or test cases or case scenario for that. Is it good to go for cloud before graduation? Yes, cloud computing knowing is always a good option. I don't deny that. So cloud computing is a very good option. And if you know, like you attend this course and you know the Amazon Web Services, so after your graduation, you can always have some more concepts which you can host on Amazon. So it doesn't mean that after your graduation, you are going to work somewhere. If you're going to work somewhere, you can use your experience or your knowledge about the Amazon Web Services somewhere else and to your wherever you're going to work. And if you are not going doing some job but you are making your own ideas, your concepts, you can use cloud computing to host your ideas, and then you can make a scalable. So that would be the ideal scenario for using that. So there is no age where you should not go for the cloud computing. What is the basics of cloud? Again, the 5 attributes I defined before in my slides. Those are the 5 basic attributes of the cloud you need to know. Somebody says, I don't know ABC of the cloud, and that's why I'm here to help you out. I'm sure after this session, you know what is cloud computing, what is Amazon Web Services. I'm sure you'll get some overview about that. And after that, also, you have any doubts, you can always reach out to Edureka, and we will be able to help you on that. What is the prerequisite understanding for completing this course? We would need you should have some basic knowledge about any programming logic. That would help you. Again, doesn't mean that you should be thorough or the champion on that, because we'll try to go with the basic to the advanced level. So we'll cover all the aspects over here. But knowing any programming language would always be a plus part. If you don't know, we'll definitely help you on that. Plus, Edureka do have a lot of course also in offering. You can try for that also. In private cloud, IaaS will be locally to company. So is it same as a local infrastructure? No, it does not mean the local same as a local infrastructure, because in cloud you have to, as I said, a few of the attributes you need to know. So you should be virtualized. It should be available to multiple users. When you need, it's available to you. It should be scalable. There should be kind of a meter service. So how would you charge back to the line of users? Optimal resource utilization. So if it's able to serve those kind of attributes, definitely it's a cloud computing. But otherwise, normal you are hosting a server does not make a cloud. You need to go for those 5 attributes which are the key for making any cloud computing. Next question is it good to go for cloud before graduation? Again, I guess I have already covered this. So what offerings of AWS are covered? I think I have covered in my last slides as well as in between what offerings are covered. So I'll keep spark the question for some time. Next question is it good to go for cloud before graduation? I think I'm getting this question repeatedly. So Rachit Jain, just be a little calm. I've already answered on this. So you can always go for the cloud computing course. For whom this cloud computing is useful as a career? The cloud computing is useful for, I would say, everyone. If you are a programmer, you should know the cloud computing, how to harness the power of cloud computing. If you are in an infrastructure service, you should know how can you make the cloud computing. If you're in some other world, you can know how can I use the cloud to make myself available so I can port some idea on the cloud computing. So cloud computing is useful for everyone. If you are just thinking about a career, I'm sure it would be on some IT side, it would be very much helpful, but I don't see there would be any stopping for any domain over there. What is the need for decryption? I don't see any reason that what is the need for decryption? If you encrypted, then you would be decrypting. I'm not sure what is the exact question here would be. Is there a separate course for cloud computing for Java developers? I think Edureka would be able to answer more, but yeah, we try to cover on a more about the cloud computing technology here, where we would be covering where Amazon Cloud or Azure Cloud or something. Even we'll help you to how can you architect with the cloud, and that would be common for everyone. So whether you are a Java programmer or you are a .NET programmer, it would be definitely help you. And Amazon do have an offering for the Java, .NET, PHP, Ruby. It has a Python. It is an offering for everyone. Software development kits are available for everyone, so you can use that. Uh, Next question, are cloud computing service running on clusters? That's a very generic question, I would say. It's normally hosted in data centers, but yes, they do use the clusters, they use some racks, they use their own, it's a majorly infrastructure is the key part of that. And then on top of that infrastructure, you would be virtualizing over there. How efficient is data governance on cloud by leading providers? Data governance is definitely efficient. So you can take the backup, the storage, archival. That is very important, and all the cloud providers do understand that aspect, so they do that part. I think I'll take little now break because we are going giving a multiple number of questions, and I guess we will then skip our major objective over here. So I'll park over here again. I'll go further, and then we'll take more questions. But I assure you, if your questions are unanswered, you can always mail us. And as a Jureka V team, we will always get back to you with your questions. So the key characteristics of the cloud computing, what are the key characteristics? The agility or flexibility, that is one of the key characteristics. It's, as I said, it's available on demand. So whenever you need cloud computing, it is available to you. So you can always scale up more resources. You can scale down when you don't need it. So and then it helps you to save the cost because it's a pay-as-you-go model. So it's a very cheaper. So only use it when you need it. And this classic example of the CNN site I was telling you. Now consider the case where they were having a 10,000 hits every day. Suddenly they have a 10 million hits in a day. Now what would they have done? They might have anticipated from the day one, since when the Obama came into power, that he will kill Osama one day, and we would have some hit our servers, and then it might crash. So let's procure a huge infrastructure from the day one, and we'll keep on serving. Though it's only 10,000 people are using, we don't mind. We'll keep on using. No, that's not the ideal scenario because it would waste a lot of money. It would be not only the investment of your infrastructure, but your power, real estate, everything would come in a picture. Instead, if you go for a cloud, so whenever you need additional resources, just launch more resources. So cloud, like Amazon and every cloud providers provide you that offering. So you can, instead of 100 virtual machines, you can now, or virtual servers, you can have 1,000 virtual servers. So your load would be 10 times more. If you want more, you can go to 10,000. And Amazon does provide that kind of offering, so it will serve your purpose. It's a device and location independence. It's a ubiquitous access. You can access from anywhere in the world. So you can access from your mobile devices, your laptops, or your tablets, or you can access from your desktop servers. Uh, Anywhere you can access it. So that's a device and location independence. It's a multi-tenant. So multi-tenant would be making you more resource optimized. Take an example. You have a 20 GB RAM server. Now only you are hosted one application which is used by the only using only 2 GB. Now you virtualize that service and you created 10 virtual servers out of that. Each server is using 2 GB each. Now you sell that thing to 10 different vendors or 10 tenants. So you have optimized your resources and your resources are optimally used, and you know that not all tenants are going to use at a time. So I can always have some flexibility available. So if one user is using in the morning, another is using in the night. It's America and India daytime difference. So I'd have the optimized cost, optimized resource cost optimization, and I'll save some money as well as my resource optimization. It's a more reliable. Again, the people would debate on that aspect, but the reason it's reliable would be the cloud providers like Amazon, and they do take care of each and every aspect. They ensure that it's a more reliable, and for that they provide the SLAs also. So Amazon provides for the virtual server like 99.95 kind of SLAs. And again, the more aspect is scalability. Scalability is the major thing. It's a massively scalable thing, Amazon. So whenever you need, it's available to you. It can scale up as much as you want. And that's why it's a very important aspect for you. Now somebody was asking, why do I need a cloud computing? So these are the typical case of the cloud computing. So one of the cases, infrastructure transformation. You have a huge IT infrastructure available. Now you know that the new infrastructure is coming every day in the market. So your existing infrastructure might be getting old. It might be becoming obsolete. So instead of procuring new infrastructure every time, you can go to the cloud. So migrate or transform whole your infrastructure to cloud. Now you don't need to worry. The cloud provider would take care of the infrastructure upgradation and everything, and you will save a lot of cost here. Email, CRM, those are the ideal scenarios. So you can use the Gmail and Outlook and all that kind of scenario. Office 365 is also one of the ideal SaaS scenario where you get the all Office tools available to you on a pay-as-you-go model. Again, development and assurance. Take an example. You need a production server which would need 64 GB RAM and which would be having around 10,000 concurrent hits. Now, how do you measure that, and how do you simulate the similar environment while testing? Either you procure the similar 64 GB environment and then you test on that, but that would be costing a whopping amount of money. You can save by just moving to the cloud and just doing your development and assurance on the cloud part with the 64 GB. So if you going to use for just 30 days or 20 days, you will be paying money only for those 20 or 30 days, and you'll be able to save some money. The hosting application is an ideal scenario. You can host any kind of application on cloud. The content delivery is you can serve your media content, static files, your video files, everything over there much faster. And Amazon is offering for CloudFront all there. So there are different kind of offering available in the world that's called the content delivery. So you can serve your media video very faster using the cloud. High performance computing, that's so the SIPO computing power I was saying. And again, that's a high performance. You can get a multiple clusters and then you can get part of that. Demo, proof of concept, where you want to have created some concept and you want to show to the market, but now you don't want to host somewhere because that would require your procuring dedicated infrastructure. Instead, you can go to the cloud and you can do a demo whenever required. So you start the cloud, you show the demo, and then you stop the cloud. So you will be paying only time you are using it. Backup is another instance where you store your on-premise data to the cloud because it will be providing more reliability. Disaster recovery and high availability, that's one of the very good case for the cloud coming up these days. So you would be having your infrastructure running in your premise, but you will always have a disaster running in a cloud. So if something happens to your local site, it would be always fall back to the cloud. So you will be able to serve your end users using your disaster recovery site. As well as cloud enables you to serve from the high availability. I'll show you the example of Amazon, how it achieves the high availability, so I'm not going here. Hybrid and private cloud are also one of the cases which we also talked about in the previously. Now, cloud computing concerns. I'll cover these concerns again, and then I'll come back to your questions. I'll take a few questions again. So, people, what are the cloud computing concerns? Yeah, the people said that we can't go to cloud. The rain can affect the cloud computing. Again, that's on a lighter note. But yeah, people do have a concerns about the cloud computing, and the major concerns are, again, this is not all the concerns, these are the major concerns. There would be a exhaustive list available across the world, and you can Google and you'll find a lot of things. A few of the major concerns would be the loss of control. In cloud, you do not own something. It is hosted or it is being managed by the cloud provider. So that you always worry. Example would be Gmail. Now, Gmail, you might be seeing recently, they have started 3 tabs. One would be your normal mails, one would be your social mail tab, and another would be your the advertisement tab kind of a thing, where it would be directly segregating your mail. So all advertising mail or the publicity mails would be going to those advertising sections. The Facebook, Twitter, those kind of mails going to the social networking tab, and all of the mails are coming to your regular private mail kind of a tab. It's a very good scenario. It's a very useful for me. Now, why do I worry for that? This shows that Twitter is reading my mails. Sorry, not Twitter. Gmail is reading my mails. It is interpreting my mails, and based on that, it is diverting to the different options. And that's a worrisome. You might have heard word called the Prism recently. That's a buzzword across again in the world, because the USA was using the Prism. That's a code word they had given, and the NSA was using it to get the information across the world. Since the USA was holding most of the internet traffic, so anything which was diverted through, they were using that, they were interpreting that, and then they were feeding out all the important information. So you are losing the control because something you do not own, you always worry about that. Integration part. Now you want to integrate with your legacy integrations applications. How do you integrate with? That would always be a worry for them. Interoperability is always a little worry, because if you are in a one cloud, you cannot move to the another cloud very easily. So if you are on Amazon, you cannot go to the Azure quite easily. You need to do quite a few changes, or you might have to start from the scratch. Accessibility and UI limitation of web applications, because it's something available on web applications. They may have a JavaScript limitations, they may have browser limitations, who is using, from where they are using, those kind of things can always come up. Reliability and performance. Your cloud is as fast as your internet. So you have to understand that. So currently you are using a 15 kbps dial-up network of 3 kbps line, and you say that cloud computing is not fast because your internet is not fast. The cloud computing would be as fast. So in that scenario, you may not like to use your hosted application on cloud computing because your internet is not fast. In that scenario, it would be ideal you use in-house application and access from that. The security is always a worry, because the people do worry because something is available in a public domain. People can hack that, and that would be a problem. There would be a features changes, vendor locking. That's a vendor locking thing, same thing. It's interoperability. You cannot move it. How do you add additional features? Now, normally, as I said, a multi-tenant would like to have their own features, but the cloud providers like Amazon would not say, no, I cannot give you all the features. This is what I'm offering. If you want, take it or forget it. Same way, if you want to change something, you can't change it. Amazon would say, this is my offering. If you like it, take it or don't take it. So that's a concern for the cloud computing. And so there are the security issues. For the security, there is a Cloud Security Alliance. It's the open source team, they have a community they are building up. It's called cloudsecurityalliance.org. You can always read. They have listed the 7 major threats on the cloud computing. So you can always Google on this PDF. It's a very good PDF. It depicts what are the 7 major security issues in the cloud computing. How can you avenge that, or how can you prevent them, and what are the things you need to do for that. So just Google for the 7 security threats or Cloud Security Alliance, the 7 security threats, or you can refer to the URL which I have already shown you. So those are the 7 live. I'll just go a little fast over here. That's abuse and nefarious use of cloud computing. Somebody is using cloud computing which is not intended for. So somebody would just use it for the spying or for malware attack and kind of a thing, where they can garner the massive power of the infrastructure of cloud computing to attack the multiple sites, and that can bring you down. The insecure interface. So if you have to trust whatever the cloud company provider gives you APIs, you have to trust it. So if it's a not known cloud provider, you can always worry if their APIs are not tested, it's insecure, it can leak your code. And malicious inside is like something your insider, whoever is the cloud provider, their inside people is leaked, and he's not able to, he leaks some information. And then there's a shared technology issue. So whatever technology you are sharing that. So there would be people who are sharing the same technology, whether it's a right technology. If there are multiple people are using it, if the one were induces the malware or something kind of a virus, can it affect my technology also? Then there is a data loss. So if your cloud computing goes down, and don't laugh, it has happened in the past. The Twitter was down once on the 31st December for the Happy New Year time, as well as the Amazon had 3 outages in last 3 years. Those were major outages. So if it's a down, what would happen to that? And account or service hijacking, it's available on internet. So somebody hacks your account, what would happen to that? And unknown risk profile. So you don't know what is there. There would be some risk which you are not aware about, and people can say that some kind of virus, some kind of attacks can always come on that. So those are the 7 major security issues on the cloud computing. A summary about the cloud computing before I go to the Amazon. After this slide, I'll definitely take the questions on this. So what is the advantage of the cloud computing? It's a cheaper, definitely. It's a cheaper, cost effective. That's majorly for public cloud. So public cloud is always a cheaper. It's a scalable. You can scale as much as you want. It's a unlimited, infinitely unlimited resources available to you. It's a very small startup cost because it covers all your capital expense to operational expense. So you don't need to invest on infrastructure at the time. It's available on demand. So whenever you need it, it's available to you. The minus part would be sometimes it's a hardware failure. How would you cope up with that? Cloud is not yet mature. That's the truth everybody has to accept. But I'm not saying it's bad. It's not at all, but it's a very good, because if you go to Amazon and you make your own application, Amazon has experts available across the world. They are paying for that, and they ensure that they have the right security mechanism available, so it will not be harming on that. Now, as an end user, I am using Amazon and I do some goof ups. So what happened? So that would be my fault, not Amazon's fault. And that has happened. The people would open some kind of a firewalls in Amazon, which would cause their instance or virtual machine to harm. That's not Amazon's fault. But Amazon do provide all kinds of a technology. But at the same time, they are maturing more and more. So I would believe by 2014-15, it will be much more mature than what it is. So that's why we predicted, not me, it's Forrester and the Gartner all predicted, by 2020, you would see a massive scale in the public cloud. It's a lock-in, vendor lock-in. You cannot move from one vendor to another. And security is always a worry, because you don't control something over here. So this is the cloud computing. Now I'll be covering Amazon Web Services. I'll take a few questions by the time. Sorry, I'm just getting the questions. What is SaaS and PaaS? I think I already covered something. Software as a service model, a business software is available. The ideal scenario was your Gmail or the Office Online or GoToMeeting, which we are doing, or WebEx, where a business service is completely available to you. That's a SaaS model. In a platform as a service model, it's some platform is available to you. Google App Engine, they offers a Tomcast based server. So you just create your Java application and you deploy over there. The database is provided by the Google. The web server is provided by Google. It is a scalable. Then if you need you can integrate with the Google APIs like the email, chat, the Google Plus, everything you can integrate with that. So that's what the SaaS part is kind of a different over there. What will be the practical part you will teach you on a course? Our course would definitely be a practical and technical mix of both, because I believe we cannot go beyond without doing any practical work. So in my course, I'll be taking the first the technical part, and even I'll show you the demo of whatever I have taught you. And then we'll try to give you some hands-on work with some tips and everything which you can do it. And at any moment you stop, you are not able to complete that, our team will help you to finish that. So definitely practical is a very important aspect. I guess I have already answered AWS PaaS or IaaS. AWS is IaaS, but it's now started giving a lot of PaaS offerings. How big data is related to cloud computing? Big data relies on cloud computing in a way because big data requires a huge servers. It requires, again, massively scalable infrastructure, and that is available with the cloud. So cloud would provide an infrastructure which is required by the big data. So big data and the cloud computing go hands in hand. It's to go in tandem. I don't get the question. Somebody said, I have experience in testing. I guess he may wanted to know. So yeah, you can use the cloud for the development and assurance part. Who are the key competitors of the Amazon Web Services? So in the world, Amazon is the leading web service provider for the infrastructure service model. Azure was one of the major competitors for Amazon, but their major focus was platform as a service model. But now Azure has started giving the infrastructure service offering also, and they are also one of the leading competitor for the Amazon. So is the Google. Google is also one of the major platform service model, but they also started their infrastructure offering almost 3 months back. In the infrastructure service model, one of the key competitors of the Amazon are Rackspace, GoGrid, as well as the Terramark, which is now by the Verizon. If I am after AWS Architect certification, will this course help? Yes, it does help. We will help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Our last session also covered how can you architect for an Amazon Web Services. So definitely you can help for that part, and this course definitely help you to go for the certification part. What can be the better ways to use cloud computing for programmers? Now, cloud computing, it's what kind of a programmer you are, whether you want to make your SaaS or PaaS or IaaS. Based on that, if you are just a programmer, you can make your own SaaS offering using IaaS or PaaS offering. If you are an infrastructure side or database side, you can make your PaaS or you can make your IaaS side also. So it does help them. And if you're just developer, you just want to host your application, you can use Amazon, something like that. So it would save your all headache of creating a new database, creating your own infrastructure, everything is managed by Amazon. It would be available to you. Is this the architecture of cloud? I'm not sure which they are referring to. How can scalability be achieved using cloud? For the cloud providers, they have a massively scalable infrastructure. So it's not a 1 or 2 servers, and I'll cover in the 3 slides from now what do they do to scale up. So I'll park this question a little bit now. Can we say if we host my application on GoDaddy, is this a cloud computing? I can say it is yes. The reason GoDaddy is a kind of a cloud provider because it's offering to multiple tenants. And if you're hosting over there, definitely it gives you all the customization and everything. So GoDaddy, if you are a hosting, GoDaddy is a cloud computing provider. Now, whether your application is a cloud provider or not, that I cannot say, because if you just make in a normal web application and you host on GoDaddy, it doesn't make you as a your application as a cloud. But yeah, GoDaddy is a cloud provider. Thanks. Somebody said cool. I appreciate that, and everybody likes the appreciation. Thanks for that. How as an user benefits from the cloud users? The cloud as an end user, see, you are using cloud right now in the day-to-day life. Gmail, CRM like Salesforce, or GoToMeeting, which you are using, WebEx, Office 365. It's a pretty easy to use, very cost-effective. So as an end user, you will definitely get a lot of advantage of that. What exactly the cloud means? I think I already covered what is cloud computing, so I'm not going back to that same question again. Too interesting by great example. Please keep it up. Thanks again. Somebody said can't hear. I'm not sure. I hope everybody was able to hear that. If you have any questions, you can post again. Our support team will definitely help you on that. How can we achieve security in cloud? I'll say this is a vast object to cover in just this course or anything, but I do cover how do you achieve the security with Amazon Web Service in my course, so that you will definitely see. Otherwise, if you want to see that the PDF which I referred, that's a Cloud Security Alerts PDF, you can refer that also. What is offline access? I'm not exactly sure by your question. What is offline access? I mean, how do you access the cloud by offline? I don't think it should be available on internet except you provide some offline thing, and then when you come back online, you synchronize the data. That could be the thing, but I'm not sure by your question. Somebody says I'm a system administrator. I don't get the question, but I'm sure that would help you to make a cloud. You can always make a virtual cloud. You can do the management of the cloud. So that would always be helpful as a system administrator. Please inform us for the practical session also. Practical session, I guess I already informed you that when you join the course, we'll definitely get the practical. I'll show the demos, how you are doing, and then at the end also, you'll get some of the workouts to do at your own, so you can take the things at your own workout. And if you have any stoppage or something you cannot work, we'll help you on that. How can scalability be achieved using cloud? I think I've said I'll cover this. How big data is rated? I think I go back a what? Which is best cloud hosting service for hosting Java applications? Again, it's based on your requirement. Nothing is best. Everybody is very good. So you decide whether you need some SLA, you need some kind of APIs. What is your requirement? That would define that. So you have to identify what you want to go. And I'll tell you in my course at the end of the session, that's on the module 6, we'll also say how do you select a cloud kind of scenario. So we'll cover that also. AWS Amazon Web Services. What is Eucalyptus? Eucalyptus would help you to make your own private cloud of scenario. It provides the APIs like Amazon, but it will help you to make your own private cloud. What is the difference between scalability and elasticity? Very good question here. That elasticity is like using your resources optimally. So if you take a rubber band, you stretch it as much as possible. That is elastic. So that is what elastic. So you go to the as much limit as you can use for your resource. That is an elasticity. And scalability would be now your rubber is stretched certain limit. You tied up another rubber to that, and then you can stretch it more. So this is what the elasticity. So you add scalability. So where you add more resources in parallel, and you can stretch up more. So that's the difference between elasticity and scalability. What are the different data types used in cloud computing? I'm not sure what is the meaning by data types here. There would be database and something. If we lose any important data, is it possible for us to retrieve it through cloud? Yes. If you are taking up a regular backup, or some cloud service providers do provide options to take a regular backup. So if you do that kind of thing, you can always recover back your data. Sir, if it can be hacked with the help of SQL injections, that's a security issue. So if you want to, cloud cannot be hacked with the SQL injection, because cloud providers are too mature in that aspect. They are taken care of all the security aspects. But at the same time, you have to understand that what you are doing, you should not, what application you are making should not be able to crack through the SQL injections. I think I'll take the last two questions and then I'll take a logical break again. How can we enhance the performance of system through cloud computing? So that would be again a case of the scalability. So you can add more resources in parallel. I have one virtual server available. Cloud service providers, I can add a couple of more servers easily in parallel to that, and all my load would be distributed using the load balancer. So instead of 10 users which I'm serving, now I'm able to serve the 40 users if I add 3 more resources in parallel. So that allows me to improve my performance. Last question for me for now. What are the major technology components used in cloud? Virtualization is definitely, what you mentioned, is definitely one of the key components to enable the cloud, but then you need the infrastructure. So you can, virtualization does not mean the cloud, but you can use the virtualization to enable the cloud. But then whatever the programming language you are using or the infrastructure you need to use, you can use that and make the cloud possible. I'll take now a break, sorry. I'll take more questions. We are having a few more things to cover up today. Now, Amazon Web Services. We'll try to cover what is Amazon Web Services, overview of the Amazon products, and the demo at the end. So Amazon.com, you might have used that or you might have seen that. It's one of the leading or rather largest retail service, online retail provider across the world right now. So you go to the Amazon.com and you can buy anything across the world. Even they have started in India also. Amazon.in has started now. So that's one of the largest service provider across the world on the retail business. They also have another business called seller business, so where you can sell your own items on the Amazon. So you are a small dealer, you want to sell your items or goods on Amazon, you can do that also, and Amazon provides that kind of facility. That's a seller business. The third business, which is now gaining a lot of traction in Amazon, is Amazon Web Services. It's an IT infrastructure business or infrastructure as a service model offered by the Amazon. It is a very popular in Amazon, and even Amazon.com is already hosted on Amazon Web Services. So those are the three major parts of the Amazon. Now, the performance part somebody said, or how do you scale up, or how do the cloud providers scale up? Those kind of questions coming well. I'll start that Amazon.com. I met one of the person from Amazon in one of the workshops, and I was interacting with them, and they said that in 2002, Amazon.com at that time also was the one of the leading or the largest online retail service across the US or across the world, and that time they had some X amount of infrastructure. Now from 2002 to 2013, they have grown a lot. So they might have 1 million users that time. This might be 500 million users this time. But what they've done is, whatever the infrastructure was available to them in 2002, similar kind of infrastructure, Amazon Web Services is adding to their data center every day. Yes, I mean every day. So imagine if Amazon.com, to serve those thousands or millions of users, in 2002 they had some 1,000 servers. Today, again, 1,000 is a hypothetical number, so just don't quote me, but yeah, I'm just taking a number. Today, every day they are adding those number of servers to their data centers, and that's the power of why they are able to offer you massively scalable infrastructure. So not only you, there would be millions of people across the world using Amazon, so they never felt the performance because they have the huge data center available, and that's why they are able to serve that. Now, how do you start with the Amazon? And that's a very important aspect you need to know. So Amazon is a pay-as-you-go model. So it will charge you only for the service which you are using it. So when you start using it, it will charge you. So if you sign up with Amazon, it will not charge you. There is no sign-in amount, except it would cost you 1 rupee or something just for a verification part. But apart from that, there is no cost for that. Now, how do you sign up with Amazon? Go to aws.amazon.com. Again, I repeat, aws.amazon.com. You can always create that sign up with Amazon, create and develop account, and Amazon will ask your credit card. So you need to provide a credit card. Without credit card, you can never sign up with Amazon, because at the end, Amazon needs a payment mechanism where they can charge you back. So when you use the Amazon service, they'll charge you. So they need a payment mechanism, and they go through only credit card. Debit card might be accepted, I'm not sure, but you can always try for that part. So enter your payment information. Now you sign up for once you registered, your authentication is done, everything is done, then Amazon has a number of products. You can sign up for whatever products you want to sign up. So you don't use any products by mistake and you don't get charged for that. And to host an application, Amazon also provides some kind of a security mechanism where you can always use the private and public keys for that to use the Amazon, and then you can make your application and deploy on Amazon, and then you can always monitor or measure with Amazon and then scale up and all that part. So this is how you go with the Amazon, start with the Amazon. And if you join the course, you'll definitely learn, we will show you how you can register with the Amazon, where can you provide the informations and everything, how to use, everything will be covered in the course. Now, what are the right scenarios of the cases for the Amazon use cases? Amazon is ideally suited for backup and archive. You can always store your backup. Whatever the data, you have a 3 GB of your media files, like your photos or something. Now your hard disk may crash. How do you take backup? Upload everything to Amazon. And once you upload, there is also option where you can archive it. Archive means like Amazon provides an archival service, which is too cheaper. So you can always archive it, which may not be available immediately, but when you need it, it's available. So you can always archive that. Then your application hosting, that's everybody's doing, media sharing, image, video. And the classic example again is Netflix. Netflix is world's largest online streaming video service. I'm not telling YouTube. YouTube is a free. On Netflix, you see the movies, rather online streaming of movies service. And Netflix is hosted on Amazon. And Netflix is one of the biggest customer of Amazon. So is the case of Instagram, which was bought by Facebook. Instagram was hosted on Amazon. Now they have shifted to the Facebook data center, or still on Amazon. That's not been made public. The media distribution, again, your the video, image, all that you want to distribute in faster. The academic computing, or the computing, the processing, what I said, the example of the supercomputer or the GCP kind of a scenario. That's exactly what you want to do. If you want to scale up, like you want to do a big data Hadoop kind of a scenario, you can cluster the units. So cluster computing, that is what you can do with that. And that's a very good scenario we have seen in Amazon also. That few people, there are the few research universities across the USA, they are using Amazon because they want around hundreds of thousands of servers to research something, to run some batch process, like a molecule diagnose or something, bacteria diagnose, something kind of that. Now they don't want to use their own infrastructure, they don't want to invest on that. They can host that for Amazon because that batch process would be running just 30 minutes. But only for 30 minutes that server would be available and it would be too cheaper for them. Search engine is another example. The social networking is a very good example. The scalable application, that's the major case. If you have a scalable application requirement, you can always use it. And that's why Hito also provides the high availability. So you can also make your SaaS and PaaS using Amazon. How does Amazon serve that? So somebody was asking, how can you make the highly available systems, and how can Amazon provide that over there? So this is the answer to that. Amazon has a concept called the regions and zones. So region is a data center of Amazon. So Amazon has 8 major regions across the world. Out of that, 7 are the publicly made, and 1 is a government cloud, which is only available where you want to US government-based applications. You can use the US government cloud. Other 7s are available to you. Out of those 7, 3 are in USA, 1 in Europe, 2 in Asia, 1 in Australia, 1 in Mexico. So those are the different, you can see the yellow bar spot, those are the data centers. And this data center is the same what I talk about, which is where they are adding thousands of servers every day. And now within a server, they provide high availability using availability zones. So availability zone is nothing but a physically separated area within a region. So within a region like you, they have a US East region that is in North Virginia. They will have a one data center, they will have a multiple availability zones. So in North Virginia, they have 5 availability zones available, A, B, C, D, E, which would be a physically separated. And the reason would be the physical separatements would be they might have a separate physical locations, or they might have a physical separate physical environment, physical security would be different. They may have even the electricity would be different. So if some disaster strikes and one electricity provider is not available, then it can suffer from the another availability zone. If the network, even the network would be different. So if one network provider goes down in one availability zone, it would be available from the another availability zone. So availability zone is a failback mechanism within one data center or one region. So that's how you can always achieve the high availability using regions and zones. So zones are very important. So in North Virginia, you have 5 availability zones. In US West, you have 3. US West 2, you have 3. The US government has 2. These are the scenarios. Again, if you see, for new customers in EC2, there in US, there are only 3 available for now. For the existing customer who has since long, almost since a few years, they can access all the 5 availability zones. So this is how the your availability, the high availability kind of things work. And then you can also make up the scenario with the disaster. So you can always have your application being served from 2 different regions. So that's being served from the 2 different continents or 2 different part of the geographies. Now, take an example. You have a service running from a US East US East, and then one service is running from the Europe West. Now, if your US West is down because tsunami or something, a hurricane or something has come, or electricity failure, you can always have a site running in the Europe, which is a fallback site. So you can always bring it up, and this is your disaster site. So you can always serve from that site. So this is how you can always disaster recovery also or that. And we'll try to cover that also in our course. Now, a few Amazon cloud characteristics is like availability and reliability. Amazon is a highly available. That's how I was talking about the multiple zones. And it's a more reliable. You go to the Amazon SLS, Google for AWS SLS. They have a highly durable storage service. There is a highly available Amazon, the virtual server. Like they provide the SLA kind of a 99.95 kind of scenario. So it's a pretty reliable scenario. It's a scalable, massively scalable. So that it's a virtually infinite resource available to you. And it's the elasticity. So elasticity and scalability I have already talked about. Performance, you don't need to worry. You get the best of the class resources from the Amazon. So I take an example. I'm doing a lot of work with Amazon. If I'm downloading some application from my local machine, I'm having a 512 or 1 Mbps kind of a scenario. It would be taking around 400 MB download. It may take 10 minutes, 30 minutes, something kind of scenario. In Amazon, it may be taking hardly 1 minute. They have more than the 10 Mbps kind of a lines, and then that serves the purpose. So it's a flexible. They provide a lot of programming languages also available. I was talking about you can do programming with the Amazon using the Java, .NET, PHP, Python, those kind of scenarios. They provide the APIs. There's a different kind of a access mechanism available also, how you can access different kind of security mechanism. So they are quite flexible with that. So they are not bound to only one programming language. So they do provide the SDKs for that. So you can develop your application using those SDKs. And they are pretty secure. So they have the US government cloud, they have the different kind of security mechanism. They have a lot of certification also for the ISO for the security part. So Amazon is definitely a secure option over there. Amazon services. Again, I'm not taking the questions immediately. Give me some time. After 2 slides, I'll definitely take your questions. So these are the major Amazon web services. I'll go a little quickly about that. These are the huge number, and we'll try to cover so many out of that. So in the storage part, we have the Amazon Simple Storage Services, which is like your FTP site where you can store all your objects over there. In Elastic Block Storage is for persistent storage board, like you want to host your database or something over there, you use the EBS. CloudFront is your content delivery where you can store your static files like videos to Gmage, and you can make the delivery content faster. The Glacier is an archival service, so it's a very cheaper storage service available to you. You can always archive all your storage. A storage gateway is an interface between your on-premise IT and the cloud storage. So you can always archive or take the backup of your in-premise IT to the Amazon using the storage gateways. The import-export is where you have a huge or terabytes of data available and you want to move to the Amazon. You don't have a high-speed internet available. You can always use the import-export service, which will help you to move the data. In this scenario, you physically ship your device like a CD drive, DVD, or hard disk to Amazon, and they will copy to the data you specify, location you specify. In the computer networking, that's EC2 is a very important. It's the Elastic Compute Cloud. It's like your virtual server available to you. Virtual private cloud allows you to create your virtual secure network, kind of a hybrid cloud scenario. Elastic load balancing for the scalability part, where it will be distributing your load across the virtual servers, across the EC2s. Auto scaling allows you to do the scalability part, so you can scale up more resources in parallel for horizontal scaling. Elastic MapReduce is a managed Hadoop framework from the Amazon, which allows you to do the Hadoop offering using the Amazon infrastructure. Direct Connect is where the dedicated network available from the across in the US and the Europe, and I think some parts in the Asia also, where there is a dedicated some internet service provider. They provide a direct link between the service provider to your organization and with your Amazon. So there would be direct link. It would not be going anything on the internet. In the deployment and management part, CloudFormation, which is like a CloudFormation, which is a templated base. Like you can create a templates and you can do over there. The Elastic Beanstalk is like a platform as a service model from cloud, where it's offers in a .NET, Java, PHP, where you can just create the application and scalability, load balancing, everything taken care by the Elastic Beanstalk. The data pipeline is more about the orchestration of data-driven flow. That is more about your it goes for the BI part. CloudWatch is for the monitoring of resources, very important. IAM, this is identification and access management, that is for secure AWS access control. OpsWork is for the development and operations, where it provides a chef puppet kind of a scenario where it provides the complete management of your service. So it's kind of a DevOps scenarios. In the cloud HSM, it's more secure, where hardware-based key storage available over there. So for making a more secure, dedicated infrastructure available to you, that's through the hardware-based cloud HSM. Then in the database part, there is a DynamoDB. It's a NoSQL offering from the Amazon. Elasticache is for the Memcache offering of Amazon. RDS is a completely managed database from Amazon. It offers the MySQL, MS SQL, and Oracle as of now. Redshift is for the data warehousing, which uses the data pipeline, as well as it can use the S3 and all that. In the cross service, the app service part, these are some of the past kind of offering Amazon has started, like Cloud Search is a completely managed search. You can use the simple email service or simple notification service, simple queuing service for the queuing part, the email part for the sending millions of mails. And for that also, Amazon provides the support. Again, not everything is free. Something is paid, something is free. Marketplace is kind of a Google app, the Apple App Store kind of a scenario, where you can buy something from Amazon and it will be charged on a pay-as-you-go model. The management console is where I'll be showing you. You will be able to access all Amazon products from there. And Amazon do provide the SDKs and IDs for that. I'll show that also. Out of these, we will try to cover this many options. So we'll cover the S3S, CBS, CloudFront, Gracious, Import-Export, EZ2, ELB, Autoscaling, CloudWatch, Elastic Beanstalk, IAM, the RDS, a little overview on SCS and NSN, so I'm not marking, just overview on that. So this marked topics we'll try to cover a little more depth. and then SES and SNS will try to get a little overview also about that. So this is all about what we are going to cover in our session also. So you'll able to learn most of the things, and once you are very used to with this, I'm sure you'll be much more familiar with Amazon, and you can work with the Amazon flawlessly. Going ahead, now how do you access the Amazon? So Amazon provides the 4 ways to access the Amazon. First is the Amazon Management Console, which I'll show now. That's a GUI console available, and you can access all the products from there. Then Amazon also provides a lot of APIs to access from that. So they provide the REST and kind of SOAP kind of APIs where you can access Amazon over there. Amazon also provides the command line interface where you can run install some of the command line tools, and you can use the Amazon from that also. And Amazon has the SDKs also, software development kits for the Java, PHP, .NET, those kind of offering also available. So you can use any of these to access the Amazon. At the end, you will be using some Amazon service or Amazon product using 4 out of 1. In our course curriculum, what we are going to cover, so this is the topics we are going to cover would be we have categories in the 6 modules. Each module is of 3 hours. So in first module, it would be more like what we are going to cover and the overview of cloud computing. I covered a little bit here, but it will be a little more advanced. Same ways for the Amazon. I tried to cover a little bit about Amazon today, but we'll be giving more overview on our course. Then what is Amazon EC2 and hands-on with the Amazon EC2 and Amazon console. So that would be our module 1. In module 2, it will be the persistence data storage EPS and the simple storage services, and how do you create the AMIs, backup, restore, S3, everything with Amazon. So how can you achieve the data backup and data restoration with Amazon? That would be in the module 2. In the module 3, it would be all Amazon scaling services. So Elastic Load Balancer, auto scaling, and CloudWatch. How do you, the complete overview, the hands-on guide, the demo, everything would be part of the module 3. And that I'm sure would be very interesting section. You will definitely enjoy that. In module 3 and 4, it would be more like about Amazon databases, that what are the Amazon databases, and then the Amazon demo of the RDS, how to use the data RDS, also demo of the CloudFront and RDS also available over there. In the top, module 5, it would be overview of the IAM, how can you use the identification and access management, plus demo of that, and then we'll briefly touch upon the Elastic Beanstalk, the CloudFormation, simple notification service, simple email service, and the key topic starts after that. So that would be like your architecture level course I was talking about, where AWS calculator, how do you calculate the cost of your Amazon? How do you predict your cost? If you want to host, how can you do that? I'll show you demo and how to do. A very important aspect about Amazon account overview and Amazon consolidated billing concept. Then there would be Amazon backup and DR setup, where how can you do a backup with Amazon, and how do you set up the DR and the archive and retrieval? How do you set up the high availability scenario with Amazon? So those kind of a case you will see. Amazon best practices for the cost optimization, the design, and the security. So those all would be covered in the module 6. And at the end, it would be more like a question and answer review. Even every day we would have a question and answer. And at the end of every module, you will get some hands-on. You will be assigned some kind of homework, so you can do hands-on at your home, and then come back to us with your questions, queries, or how you feel about that. So this is the complete overview about the course, what you are going to learn in Amazon Web Services. Now I'll show you the demo of the Amazon. Before that, I'll cover a few questions. Again, pardon me, I'll not be able to cover everything, but I'll try to cover as many possible. What are the best standards globally recognized certifications for cloud computing? There are multiple certificates, and I'll try to show you some of them in our course, where you say the Cloud School is one of the scenario. Amazon itself is having, then VMware is having. So there are the different kind of what you are going with. You get some of the certifications on that. Now, this is a delivery a set of services that together form a reliable, scalable, and inexpensive computing platform in the cloud. I did not get your question. This is deliver. Sorry, I'm not sure. You can just post back or drop us a mail. It can be hacked with the help of a SQL engine. I think I already answered that. Please tell me the tools and application in the cloud. I also answered for this. Vertical scalability is possible in PaaS. A very good question, I would say. In some aspect, yes, it do. So vertical scalability, if you are not available, something you are aware, in horizontal scaling, you add a more resource in parallel. So I was talking about where you stretch your instance like your rubber band. So you add more rubber band in parallel and you stretch more. In vertical, where you have one hard disk of 20 GB and you want to add more, so you add 20 GB more in so you increase the storage capacity. So that is always you are doing a vertical scaling, so you are scaling in a vertical aspect. It will always have its own limitation because you cannot grow beyond certain limit. But in past, they do provide some kind of a vertical scalability, so you can always add more storage and all that aspect over there. Whether one session for the client and server for the communication. I'm sorry, did not get your the question. What do you mean here? What are some open source cloud computing platform databases? Uh, Good question. Uh, there would be no cloud computing databases, but yes, there are NoSQL databases which uses the power of the cloud computing and which you can host on the cloud computing. And these are the NoSQL databases. So the Cassandra is there, the MongoDB is there, so you can use that. And at the same time, you can also use your RDMS like an open source Postgres over there on Amazon. So those are the options always available for you. Can you give me the example, any research paper or any practical concern about enhancing the performance of system like irctc.com through cloud computing? I'm sure you will see by December end, the railway minister has promised us that you will see the much better performance. But there would be a cases, so it's not only infrastructure which can help you. It can always be a cases where you have to also optimize your application also. So IRCT is a classic case, and I cannot go and work on a single application because it would have its own kind of a problem. They may not have the infrastructure, they may not have the right coding part. There would be so the performance enhancement would be part of your cloud hosting. So cloud hosting would definitely give to enhance your performance, but it would be at a certain limit. Your code optimization is also very important. Suppose if your query takes 10 minutes to execute, cloud can enhance it to be execute in 8 minutes. But if you have written the wrong query, cloud cannot help you. If you optimize it to execute in 4 minutes, and then cloud can help you to execute in 1 minute. So it's both the cases. So I'm not debating what is the right in the IRCTs or what is wrong, but it would be case with your code as well as cloud both. What are the best cloud vendors? I think I answered. There are the Amazon and the Google, Microsoft. They have their own cloud offerings, and they are one of the leading across the world. Except authorization and authentication, is there any level of security at internal level of architecture? There would be definitely. There would be a firewall kind of a scenario. There would be a different virtual firewall, virtual MAC address. I'll cover in my session how does Amazon provide all that. Does availability extend to data? Yes, it does. Availability is very important, and Amazon provides 99.99 kind of availability. So that's availability is very important for the data. As a part of application hosting, if my application is based on WebSphere, WebLogic, Oracle SQL, is Amazon provide that? Amazon provides the hosting capability. Also, Amazon has a marketplace where you can get the readily deployed WebSphere or the WebLogic, and you can always use it. Amazon has a RDS which offers you to Oracle and MS SQL and MySQL. So Amazon do provide all that. Netflix, I did not. It's a Netflix, NETFLIX. So that's the leading. It's like a big flix in India. They have copied the service from the Netflix. You can Google that. Who maintains data for legal or compliance purposes, and what happens when contracts are terminated? It's a both way scenario. So you sign up with the cloud provider. If some cloud providers like Amazon, they say that this is the service we are offering, and you accept the terms and whatever the agreements you are signing up with them. If the contracts are terminated, that's the case what you have done, what you have tied up with the Amazon providers. I don't think Amazon would sign as per your requirement unless you are a huge provider like a Netflix and you are doing something for special for Amazon. But that would be a case-to-case basis what you are doing with the contracts. Relating to my earlier question on the offerings from this slide, how many are offered in your training? I think I already covered what I'm going to cover in the training. How templates help us in a cloud? Templates do help. So in cloud, templates would be like Chef, Puppet Case, if you can Google. It will create a virtual set of stacks of the instructions. So CloudFormation would have, like, you want to say, first run a step where you start a launch a server, second run a step where you install application, run a step where you deploy the database, run a step where you scale up the application, run a step where you do the management. Everything you can make a template using CloudFormation and all that, and that's available to you. Kindly tell the current research going on the cloud computing. There's a lot of research going on, and again, it's a vast topic. That's for the big data, Hadoop. That's a huge topic to go again, and I don't think it's one point or one thing can answer on that. But there would be big data, Hadoop, how to scale up, the security, everything is going in the cloud. What would you cover in one module in one day? I think I already covered that, so I'm skipping it. What jobs can I position myself for after taking the course? After this course, you can definitely position yourself as a Amazon developer or Amazon architect based on your experience, based on your confidence level. And even you can also position yourself as a cloud architect also, based on again your experience and your professional what you are doing right now. Is there any separate specific course for AWS architecture certification? Amazon has a certification for that, and we will cover most of the topics what is required for the Amazon architecture. Yes, there is a special, there can be a few advanced topics like VPC and detail about RPD, RDS or the ops works, which is not covered in these sections, but if required, we'll definitely cover in an advanced session, which we'll arrange for you, where it will be a complete separate course. Need to know what needed in application coding if going to deploy on cloud. It can be any application. I said that you can create in any application and you can host, but you are using any of the cloud provider, you can use some of the service, like you are hosting the image on Amazon storage service, you need to use their APIs. Since Salesforce provides SaaS and PaaS, it's AWS competitors. Yes, Salesforce is a AWS competitors, but it's not the major Amazon competitor, because they have the offering called Force.com, which directly works or competes with the Elastic Beanstalk of Amazon. Otherwise, SaaS is a completely separate thing, and Amazon does not provide much of the SaaS offering. Netflix is not available in India. I agree. And again, Netflix is not course. Netflix is a video streaming, so it's not part of a course. So any architecture changes in our coding for cloud, because we are using web services, MVC struts, there might be some of the things. If you have to make it a scalable, you need to make it a component pies modular structure, and how to use, you have to use some of the cloud services and how you are using that. We'll try to cover some of the points again in our modules. Which companies can I apply for jobs after taking this course? Again, a very vast question. You can apply to any company which has the cloud offerings available. So which is the cloud opening, you can always apply that. Is it possible for any user to save everything on cloud, whether his personal or Office apps and database? Yes, you can store anything on the cloud. Again, it's not application, it's stored data you are storing. You can host any application on the cloud. I don't think there is any, except it's your application. So you have to understand your statutory governing on security requirement, then only you will go there. I think I've answered quite almost all answers. What is the app fabric component? I'm not getting exact question. Can you be a little elaborative? I can understand more. I'll now go to the demo, because we have already taken a much more time than I anticipated. But I'll show you the what is the power of Amazon, what you can do it. I was talking to you about that, how with the Amazon you can develop that any application very quickly. So now I'm going to share. Okay, I hope you are able to see my browser. Just reply a few yes in the chat window will definitely help me. Okay, great. Thanks. So I'm going to show you. I hope my session is not timed out. So I'll just try to refresh it if it works or not. Yes, hopefully it's not. Great. So these are the Amazon console. You can see over here. These are Amazon Web Services. These are the Amazon consoles. And as I said, we will be covering EC2. We will be covering the CloudFront, the Glacier S3. We will be covering the RDS part. We will be covering the EBS and the S3. Overview about the SES, the Elastic Beanstalk IAM. Those are the things we'll definitely covering. And I'll definitely give overview about each and every product in detail in my module number 1. So you will come to know about each and every product, what is it doing in little more detail. Again, we'll go in a much detail in every module, but about overview of each product in our lecture 1, we'll get that. Now going with the, I'll try to see here, show a demo where I'll be hosting one application on Amazon, and we'll see how it works. So I'm going to EC2. EC2 is an Elastic Compute Cloud from Amazon, where you can host any application on that. So these are the regions you can see. So I talk about 7 regions, 8 regions available over there. So yeah, 3 in US, 4, 7. Sorry, I forgot. There were 8 regions for that. So Sydney is also there. So I'm going to US East region, and there is a 9th region that is a government cloud. So what we'll be doing is we'll be launching an instance instance is nothing but a virtual server available to you. So I go with the launch instance. So this is the wizard where it will allow you to launch an instance. So I'll be selecting a AMI. AMI again I'll cover in my session what is AMI. But AMI is like your ghost image, something it's available a set of operating system, the storage and everything available to you over there. It's some predefined software also. So I'll go with that. I'll taking the micro instance, which is the lowest instance over there. Again, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. In this course, whatever the hands-on training which we are going to cover, we'll also try to cover Amazon provides a free services. So some of the services are absolutely free. Absolutely free means for a 1 year. So you will not be charged for that. Yeah, you need Amazon account for that, but even if you use that service, you will not be charged for that. And we'll try to structure your course again, Lee, that you will be using most of the free service only. So you don't have to pay for the Amazon services cost part, but at the same time you can learn, you can do all the hands-on training also. So I'll be selecting a micro instance. Micro instance is one of the size of that. So you can see that micro instance would have a 613 MB RAM. There would be a small instance which will be a 2 GB kind of, medium will be a 4 GB. There would be high storage, 8 extra large instance will be have a 117 GB RAM instance. So one virtual server with the 117 GB RAM, and then you can add multiple in a cluster. You can make that. There would be a availability zone also. I was talking about these other availability zones. I'll continue. So this is the kernel ID and RAM disk ID. That's the Amazon thing. We'll be covering a little bit about in our session also. IAM role also we'll cover in our session. I'll allow them to load the default values. Okay, I'm going with the default values also. This is my EBS Elastic Block Storage configuration. Currently, whatever the virtual server I'm using, it will be having a 8 GB size. So this is just name I am giving. This is the key pair. Again, I'll show you. This is a kind of a security mechanism. So I'm using the one which I have in existence. So this is my Judika demo and existing I'm using over here. I'll be using this security group. Security group is nothing but a virtual firewall kind of a scenario provided by Amazon. I'm using that. So we'll cover everything security group, security keys, everything in our modules. So we have launched a virtual server. So this is it launching. Virtual server, it is launching right now. So our requirement would be, are still able to see my screen? I hope yes. So this is the server is launching. It will take 1 or 2 minutes. As I said, it will take 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, by the time it launches, we'll say, does it provide anything to Kashmiri students? Again, I'm not sure to answer this right thing over here. There is no, all students are same for us. So everybody is same. This console want any registration? Yes, it does. You need to be registered with the Amazon. You need the login ID and all that. I skipped that step just to make it a little faster. We need this recorded video material. I'm sure it will be available for you. So you'll be able to see that. So now I'm going. So I'll give another 30 seconds for, because status checks are making that the instance is available to you. So Amazon would do some initial guide. So it's a 2x2 status checks pass. This is a virtual server now launched for me, available to me. It is available or accessed through this public IP. This is a public IP or public DNS provided by the Amazon. So I'll try to connect that public DNS. Since it's a Linux machine, are you able to see my uh, let me share my another application. I hope you are now able to see my. This is my putty. This is for my Telnet client, which I am using to connect to my virtual server. I'm connecting using the key which I have generated. I'll just verify. I use the Eureka training. Sorry, keep name was a Eureka demo. So I'll be using the Eureka demo as my key, and the IP I'm using is my IP, which I have. It is public DNS provided by the Amazon. You'll see the console now. So this is my virtual server available to me, and I can do anything over there. I have the admin rights over there, so I can do. I'll be now hosting Apache, installing the Apache over here, and then hosting a website over there. So this is the command I'm running to install the Apache. This is the command to start the Apache. Sorry, I typed twice. Okay, my Apache started. Now I'm creating a website. My mouse is a little sensitive, sorry. So now we have installed the Apache in my server. We have also installed created our index.html file, so which will be able to I will be able to see that. Now I'm showing my browser. So using the same public DNS where we have hosted our application, I'm going there. See, this is my application hosted. So you see that I have created index.html. I have deployed the application on my server, the Apache I have installed, and then my application is ready. See, now you see the power of the cloud computing available to you on demand, immediately available to me. I can deploy anything over there pretty fast, and that's why it's very important for us to use the cloud computing. So this completes my session for the day, and so I hope to see you to class next. I'll try to cover the questions if there are any.
Yeah, thanks, Tarun. Tarun, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so hi everyone, this is Rajiv from Edureka. I would like to thank Tarun first of all for hosting this session and providing us such a great demo as well. So can I get a quick smiley on the chat window for for Tarun? Everybody can please send the smiley for Tarun. Okay, so Maharsh has given, Shashi is given, Hani, Amit, Manoj. So everyone has liked the session. So thanks a lot everyone. So Tarun, can you move on to the slide which tell the detail about the course?
Sure. Hey, by the way, thanks. The audience was also very good, and if allowed to me, I'll try to take this audience with whenever I go and deliver my any session. Very nice audience.
Definitely.
Thanks to all also.
Okay, so for more details on the course, everyone can visit www.edureka.in. I'll just also try to write it on the chat window. Yeah. And if you have any questions related to the course, you can please write it on the chat window. I'll be happy to answer that. Okay, so Arvindan has asked when is the next class starting. So the batch is starting on 11th of August. Okay, and we're also running, just to inform you, we're also running a early bird offer this week. So those of you who want to enroll can definitely enroll in the course. So the offer is also there is a 10% offer which is running this week. So before Saturday, if you enroll, you'll get a 10% off. Okay, so what is the total fee? Rahul Shah is asking. Rahul, the total fee is 14,999 plus service tax. Okay, and what is the duration? Shankar is asking what is the duration of the course. So the duration of the course is 6 weeks. Okay, any other question from anyone? Okay, so if you have further questions, you can also write us at ankur@edureka.in for any questions related to the course. I am also writing it on the chat window. Okay, any further questions? Okay, so Neeraj is asking how can I make the payment? So Neeraj, you can make the payment. You can visit the website. You can make the payment through credit card, debit card, or net banking. Okay. Uh, so yeah, Hari. So you're also having the taking the Hadoop training with us. Okay, thanks for coming here. I hope you like the cloud session today. Okay, if okay, so I think I have more question. Yeah, this is Arvindan has asked. Is this only an online course? Yes, Arvindan, this is completely online course. So there are classes every weekends, and there is a 24/7 support team available for all the assignments, hands-on practice that we'll be doing during the course. Okay, can I have? Okay, so Hanif is saying thanks. Prabin is saying thanks. Oh, after the course, yes. So Sashi has asked us a question: when will they get the certificate after completing the course? Yes, Sashi. So during the course, you'll be doing a project, and after successfully completing the project will be reviewed by a panel of experts. After that, based on the project, you'll be getting the certification after the course, and this certificate will be from Edureka. Okay. So Tahir, you can talk about that if you send an email at ankur@edureka.in. I'll again write it on the chat window about the payment and other stuff. You can contact ankur@edureka.in. Yes, Akshay, you will be able to show grades in the certificate. Thanks, Praveen. I hope you will like the session. So Sashi, that's assessment. So question from Sashi is if there is, how do we do the assessment test for this course? So Sashi, as I said, there will be a project that will be submitted by you at the end of the course. There is a panel of experts who will review that project, and based on that, you will receive the certification. Thanks, Tahir. Thanks for your love from Kashmir. Any other questions? Okay. Yes, so Arvindan has asked a question, will he receive a recorded video for the session? Yes, Arvindan, for this session also, and also if you enroll for the course, for all the sessions, you will get the recorded version of the session. So you will be getting the recording of this session sometimes today evening or tomorrow morning. So we will be sending you emails with the link to watch the recording. Yes, Arvind, we'll be sending you the recorded video. Yes, so Arvindan, yes, we have your email. You when you registered, you've also written your email there in the form, so we have your email, we'll be sending it there. So Arun is asking what else material he'll get if he's joined the course. So Arun, you'll get recording of all the sessions. You will get assignments. You'll get quizzes that you have to do during the week. You'll also get the suggested readings that you should do. And again, there will be a team of experts which will be available to you 24/7 during the course for all the queries you might have during the course. So Kundan is asking if we provide any placement assistance. So Kundan, we do not guarantee any placement assistance, but yes, if you are able to do the course well, I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of jobs. Shashi, I'm not able to understand your question. Your question is there any on-demand test timing? Can you please elaborate it a little bit more? Okay, so Arvind has asked who are the faculties. So Arvind, the upcoming batch will be taken by Tarun only. You have already had introduction with Tarun. He has more than 12 years of IT industry experience. Okay, and he has more than 3 years of experience entirely on AWS. Okay, fine. Okay, friends, and I think okay, we have some more questions. Shashi, when you say give test on demand, yes, I will. The final project submission will be scheduled, and we'll talk to you and schedule a session with you where you can explain us the project, and based on that, you'll get the certification. If this is what you meant by this question. So Arun is asking if Hadoop course will complement with the cloud course. So Arun, as such, I do not think there is any direct relation between Hadoop and cloud. But what you can, learn here is how to probably run your Hadoop cluster on cloud, on AWS. Edureka is already giving you access to, the cluster on cloud, so you can understand how to set up that cluster and how to run it more optimized way. Okay, you're welcome, Arun. Yeah, honey, if you're interested in the course, please get in touch with ankur@edureka.in. Okay, any other questions about the course? Yes, Ashi, you will be getting all the tools and software that are required for the course. You're getting the access to, Amazon is already giving you a free access to the cloud. So you'll have to take it at your end. It is entirely free, and we'll be doing the practicals there. Arvindam is asking if we will get any hard copies. Arvindam, you'll get access to the learning management system that will have all the recordings, all the assignments, quizzes, everything will be there, suggested reading, and you will have a lifetime access to that LMS. So you don't really need any hard copies for that. Yeah, so the recorded session, Ankit, will be available for this session. It will be available before tomorrow morning in your inbox. Okay, thank you, Sashi. Thank you, Sashi. So any other questions? Okay, so for more information, you can again visit edureka.in or contact us at ankur@edureka.in. So I'll just quickly show you how you can enroll for the course. So this is the website. You can visit www.edureka.in. I'll just go to the home page. You can quickly move down and click Cloud Computing with AWS over here. This is the course that we are talking about. Okay, it will take you to the cloud computing page. Here you can enroll for this course by clicking enroll now. It will ask you for to register for the course. You can fill in the details and register for the course. You can also register through using your Facebook account. For more details, you can also call us at this number. Yes, Arpan, it will be covering that particular topic. Yes, so Shankar, the next batch will be announced. So 11th is the next batch when we are starting. So that is the only batch available currently on the website. So once we are through with this batch, we'll be announcing the next batch.